Beautiful. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the MentorFX Private Mentorship. This is webinar 162. And as always, we're going to jump right into it. So the very quick version of everything is welcome aboard. This is, of course, all perspective based. So please remember that. Everything that we do here is for educational purposes only. And most importantly, if you're brand new, welcome to the team. You're going to learn a ton over your time here. More and more is only being made available. And you showing up to these webinars themselves is one of the most powerful things you can do. Because when you show up to these, you get to see firsthand how we think, how we interact, how we approach any given market, how we think about any given time frame. And again, all that happens is you basically start yourself for the week. You properly get yourself ingrained for the week, but also you learn very quickly, like AJ right here. First of all, welcome. Like him, you learn very quickly what you're working towards, which is very powerful because that means that as you're working through, let's say, some of the most recent course content, being the members portal, which, by the way, more stuff is going to be released, I believe, this week. So I'm just going to get that. I'm going to get more stuff out to you guys this week here. As you're working yourself through this portal here, now I know, guys, I'm only 19% complete, okay? I've been a little lacklustering, okay? But as you work through it, you're going to see firsthand how the stuff you see in the webinars, how the stuff you see in the screener and the tools is basically working hand in hand. You're going to basically see firsthand how the things you're learning now, no matter where you're learning and no matter how you're learning, how they're being used live, how they're actually being used by members, how it's being used by people that are actually trading this thing every single day, showing up every single day, taking trades. And it's awesome of everybody here that you guys post your stuff on the day-to-day. And we got Onions here with a review that he just posted. Very nice, man. Lots of work to do. Good. Very good. So this leads me to, oh yeah, the tiny little teaser. Okay, guys, so I promised you that, you know, the screener, it's, well, we're working on it, of course, as you all know. There's a lot to do. The screener is only going to get better. At the moment, you guys all know it as kind of this right here, where of course you can jump in and add whatever you see fit. You know, for any of you that are just trading with props or just trading on like Forex markets, you know, you can add and play around with stuff as you see fit, right? I have everything added just for the sake of having everything added. But what's cool, I'm going to show you guys this really quick, and then we'll jump right into the webinar material. This is kind of the next step. You can kind of see behind. You'll have a little bit of an easier view of everything, kind of more concated, a little bit better. You'll have price. You'll have a few other filters that we can add. You'll see you'll have a few opportunities to add other things, but keeping it very simple. So it's going to be awesome. There's a cool amount of things coming out. You know, I've been working really hard with my team over the last few weeks, months on making all of this. So it's going to be available to all of you very soon, and that should. Well, the goal, right, as always, is to give you the ability to improve your overall ability to analyze and find or screen markets for less time than it would have taken you yourself, right? So the idea always, as you all know, especially my man Comp Man right here, as you all know, all of us can theoretically go like this. So this is really important. All of us can do this and click on all and basically start adding every pair an existing market in the world. Okay, what I can do theoretically as a trader, if I'm, let's say, a futures trader or a Forex or a stock trader, is I can go in and I can simply, here, I'll do it like this. Where can I make a new watch list? You know, study. So I could theoretically jump in and go ahead and add, and just add all the stocks, then potentially add whatever futures I want if you're a futures trader, right? Add as many futures as I can, then add some cryptos because, you know, some of us are crypto traders and have cryptos, and you can add them all. And you can do this with close to, I think, like 10,000 markets. And then you can go through them step by step. You can say, okay, you know, where's Tesla? Well, it's in potentially a distribution here, but coming out, you know, on a daily, it's in, you know, in a bullish market, maybe there's something to watch. On a 60-minute, it's moving into some kind of, well, right now in distribution, but if we go regular trading hours, I think it'll, yeah, still distribution. So there's, you know, so you can already tell that the screener in general is going to be a little bit bullish, a little bit bearish, and that's it. And the thing is, any of us can go through every single market, no problem, and work this out. So one of the main things that I've always spoken about in trading is that you want a system, for the most part, that you can rely on yourself, right? This is very important, where if I'm dead, if your mentor is dead, if your whoever signal provider is not available, if I choose to do something else, whatever it might be, you always have the ability to go and do it for yourself. Every webinar someone dies. It's South Park out here. Okay, but the idea is you always have the ability to go and use everything you've ever learned for yourself, which is the most vital thing in trading. You all should know this, right? Without your ability to do it personally and with conviction for yourself, you'll never make it. Okay, so the idea has always been, you know the tools, you know how to use them, and you can theoretically go through 10,000 markets like this and do it. I personally don't want to do that for myself. I want to, turn into more of a software-based company where good traders, people that are now trading 100K, 200K, 1 mil, 100 mil, 50 mil, whatever number, those people can now improve their bottom line within and save literally hours of work with something like this. That's always been the goal. So that's exactly what I've been working on producing, right? And putting out and making available to you. Because the idea is, I don't want to be around just teaching because teaching's going to end. No shit. Well, I'm gonna keep on improving people that join and walking them through the best thing that I personally understand. But the goal is you actually become profitable, right? And profitability means that confusion is eradicated. You become a lot better at the things that you weren't good at before. And then not only do you become better and have the ability to do it for yourself, you then gain the opportunity or the option to do it at a pace, which is the day-to-day work, in a much easier way, right? And I'm sure a lot of our members that have been here for a while in the chats, if you guys would like to, you can maybe speak a little bit on how let's say the screener has potentially impacted your ability to just do the work that you were already doing. Black, I'm not leaving, bro. That's not what I meant. My point is personal conviction. Number one, right? Always. I've got a nice coffee for the day as well. So yeah, there we go. Let me go back up and see what's going on now. So good morning, everybody. Really good to see everyone. Shellings, what's up, man? First live webinar from Zoom user. You should rename yourself to your actual name if you're a guest, but welcome aboard, man. Hello, kind people. The webinar triggered a crypto pump, did it? That's funny. Yeah, I mean, crypto's been really nice. So like, I think somebody said something about crypto a second ago, right? Where it's like lower time frames have been really clean, and they're right? The lower time frames have been exceptionally clean. Lower time frames have begun to set up into accumulation and just started moving, right? All week long, it's been really good. I personally had an eye on, where is it? On GBTC and on MSTR, which are kind of crypto stocks. They've been showing a lot of strength. Show you. They've been showing a lot of strength in a quite a bearish market, right? Market's been generally bearish, at least there. And these have been showing a lot of strength. And they actually started setting up moves even on higher, right? So GBTC, MSTR, both started setting up moves. This was much cleaner. I skipped them completely. I just skipped both. I wasn't there. I just didn't take them. I wasn't looking at them for whatever reason. But that's part of trading, right? That means that if now it goes on another run that never pulls back, right, and starts making new all-time highs, which it can do, don't get me wrong, right? Like, so this still probably is going to set up, but there's a chance that this was the opportunity right here. There's a chance that that was the one and only opportunity. That's going to happen with markets. And that might be the move that starts to catapult once again to like 80K, 85K, whatever it might be. And that's fine. I'm open to that occurring. And that's how the market functions sometimes. But there's also an opportunity, or there's also the chance, because we can't predict how a market's going to deliver. All we can do is understand in general how a market delivers. And what we do is we wait for that opportunity to be presented, because the market is going to repeat endless things. Tomorrow, one market of one asset of some class is going to do a version of this. Another one is going to do a version of this. Another one's going to do this. Every market condition that we might study or look at or get good at or understand is going to, in some sense, repeat on any given asset at some point, right? So to start this webinar, what I want you to realize, and in reference to my own experience, in reference to the things that's happening right now, crypto is something we've had on our watch list for a long time, since around, if you guys remember, here. This is when we first started getting long, and we followed this thing all the way up, and we had some beautiful trades all the way up, as you all know, and we started to continue watching it, and then it started to fail down. We stopped watching it, and very recently, lower time frames began to pick back up. So a lot of lower time frame traders began to see really nice success here and on other relative crypto pairs that were showing a lot of strength. So I've seen like Vlad throughout the week or the last 2 weeks trading it, right? But it started to pick back up. And the reality is this might have been that moment that set a precedent for this move to now go to 87, 85, 90K. And that's perfectly fine. If I miss that move, there's no part of me that's sitting there extremely upset or like, shit, I missed it. I missed the move here and that's it. There's nothing more to it. But there's also the option that price isn't ready yet, right? Of course, this is how markets work. And the people that got in here might end up taking a break even, and then the setup might get better. Or it might fail and there's nothing to do. Or, as I would like to see, price begins to kind of pause a little bit, maybe build some kind of range under which it would make a lot of sense, something like this, for price to start a new stage 2 expansion higher. And I'll be there for a trade like this, right? In the next coming, let's say, week or 2 or 3 weeks, there's a chance that price goes into a longer term stage 1. Maybe the Qs, so, NASDAQ or whatever you want to compare it to, or the overall market becomes, so this is like US 100, by the way. Maybe this continues to go down or go sideways. And as it goes sideways, Bitcoin and other pairs also go sideways or show overall strength, which means that very simply, if NASDAQ is, I'll just ask you guys a very simple question. And this will also be part of the portal, but this is how we introduce concepts and ideas. Let's assume NASDAQ for a second starts continuing to go down or go sideways. And at the same time that that's happening, this does not go down, it actually goes sideways and somewhat moves higher. What does that tell you innately about the composite operator? So the composite operator, let's say he has $6 trillion, done. That's all he has, okay? That's it. The composite operator has $6 trillion. It's very little. Okay, $100 trillion. The composite operator has $100 trillion. Now, if Bitcoin is moving sideways or going a little bit higher while NASDAQ is going down, what does that mean the composite operator is doing? Since he's the only one that controls the market, what does it mean he's doing? In reference to those two markets. Yep, that's it. It means he's pulling his positions out of NASDAQ and he's putting that money into Bitcoin. That's it. That's all that's happening. So this is how you think about the world of investing. This is how you think about the world of money, relative strength. This is how money works. Because if money's coming out of one asset, and as that one asset is losing momentum, it has shitty momentum, is going sideways, and at the same time another asset is surfing higher when everything else is going down, that's literally screaming a story at you. That's screaming the money of the composite operator, or institutions, or hedge funds, whatever you want to call it, are shoveling money into an asset. So that means that if the overall market begins to finally move higher, or if the pulse off of the person who's bleeding comes off, what's going to happen? You're going to see an eruption, right? And that's what creates trends. That's what creates big moves. That's exactly how demand overpowers supply, and you get a crazy, crazy move, right? That's literally where that comes from. And you can test this, right? Don't just take my word for it. So like you can go back a little bit and see some of these areas. So, Bitcoin's not necessarily NASDAQ, but it's an asset. And you can always compare assets. So one thing you should do is you can literally study some of the price action and decide, first of all, if there's any base correlation. So like around here, you can see this date is like 22nd of January. That's the lowest low that Bitcoin made during this point here, the 22nd of January. If I go to the 22nd of January here, 22nd of January was right here. Okay, during that same time, NASDAQ was showing overall bullishness, right? And from there, if you notice, 22nd of January, this began to come down. So from the 22nd of January till around the 31st of January, what do you notice about US 100 or NASDAQ? what happened with this, right? Money began to somewhat move sideways or flow out of it and lose some of the averages. It was still moving higher. It still wanted to move higher, which is why we were very bullish here. But money began to flow out of this, okay? And during that same time to the 31st of January, during that same time till the 31st of January, from the 22nd of January, what happened to Bitcoin? As money began to somewhat flow out of the indice. Well, this started getting bought up. Accumulation started to come in, and all of a sudden, price began to go sideways. And if you guys remember, this is exactly where I traded. You had overall strength get shown to you off a market that was already proving to be momentum-based and very strong. And this is the move I took, right here, higher. And what do you notice? That strength that just came from here ended up having a multi-month run up until around the 15th of March. And again, 15th of March. So this mini run up here, because money had started to come out of QQQ, the composite operator put it directly into crypto, into Bitcoin, whatever you want to call it, and that took off during the same time. Okay? So that's something just to keep in account, right? And now, once again, if you notice, as QQQ is having a huge decline, does everyone understand, even if you're brand new, does everyone understand how this is a large decline in this market condition at the moment? The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the last 7 days, basically the last week, has seen an overall huge loss of momentum or money's coming out of this. Yep, it might set up later. It might set up something here later, maybe somewhere around here, and then keep going up. But right now, does everyone understand how this is overall weakness? Great. And at that same time, this thing is literally screaming, hey guys, all the money that's moving out of indices or FX or anywhere else, where is it moving into? What is proving to go not just sideways, but higher while something else is going lower? Crypto. So that should get your ears to grow like elves, right? You should be hearing something. You should be seeing something. It's telling you firsthand where the money's heading. So what I'm waiting for now, like I said, I missed this trade here. I missed it. Okay, that's perfectly fine. What I'm waiting for here is some kind of sideways environment, some kind of stage one. I'm basically waiting for this or this or this to occur here. Okay? Does everyone understand how just this little concept of relative strength right now in reference to what's going on here with the conditions of the overall screener is leading to a potential opportunity? So not only that, so people are saying yes, which is great. Do you also understand how it was perfectly valid and correct to trade this? And even if you miss it, why it's perfectly fine to allow that money to move without you, because one, there's going to be always new entries, but two, to understand how this can also be an occurrence, even though this setup had become a setup. Because what people forget is that a setup can become a better setup, okay? If you traded this entry here, around here, what would this entry likely become in this scenario exactly right here? What would this entry in here become if you entered anywhere inside of here? It would be a small win or a break even, exactly. Or for some people, a big win, right? Because they might be trading a lower time frame inside of there, perfectly fine. But then what did it do? It created a better setup, right? And in this case, would you be okay if you had taken that small break even or that small win and then got it in again here? Or would you be very sad that you missed this and beat yourself up even though the next setup became perfectly relevant and, made a new setup around this point here? Right now, in this case, if you guys remember, I think I did trade this area, but it just didn't end up following through. Could this trade right here have manifested into a run to 80K? Yeah, that's why I traded it, because the context was there. It was telling us that it wanted to do that, and it didn't. It rolled over, and the second it rolled over, I stopped watching it. I think I literally traded it inside of there, though. I can double check. but I'm pretty sure I traded it inside of here. Like, I'm pretty sure the trades, and you can even see this, like, beautiful, beautiful structure, beautiful MBs. There were trades available through this thing, and these trades were fine. Here, what'd you send here? Oh, you took this. Nice. This was a phenomenal trade. Yes. I was looking at this too, but I missed it, so. But that's okay. That's how it goes sometimes. Congratulations. Yeah, SFT has been on top of the cryptos. I remember SFT traded, I forgot what it's called. Not Matic. FMT is something like that. FTM. Yeah. I remember he traded FTM when it made its crazy move. I remember he traded it inside of this action right here. Like, this is literally where he traded it, took it higher, and then that's it. And probably hasn't touched it since. It was beautiful. This is exactly what you do. And again, it had the same principles, the exact same principles. You'll see during this time, if you compare it to Bitcoin or you compare it to some of the NASDAQs, you'll see overall relative strength. And again, that relative strength results in, right, the same setups we're normally used to, and then price starts coming out of there. And again, inside of those areas, you're going to get the same setups in reference to the portal. Before I even look at it, do you want to know what that setup's going to look like? It's going to look like this in general. There's going to be some kind of larger push, move down, and a potential move of the next push. Inside of it, there's probably going to be a push like this. It's going to come and take out basically the low or come right to the low. And then from there, it's going to validate some kind of MB inside of here, form another MB that gets buy stopped, or form another MB after that gets buy stopped like this. And that's going to be the move. Or if you're a lower time frame trader, there's going to be another move that sets up along the way right here in mini MBs like so. And those will make a move that will then either fail instantly or may hold and start a much larger move higher. This is the only way that markets tend to move. And this is directly from the members portal. This is exactly how markets just tend to move. So if we go look inside of it, that's exactly what you're going to see. You're going to see the overall larger time frame pushes, right? Those larger time frame pushes will stop at or be around those same areas with the expectation to keep going. This could be like your green. Inside of that, of course, you'll have like your mini red, or this could just be an overall black, right? Same approach to understanding how structures move. In reference to that, you have the anticipation of the higher low rule, where prices tend to stop at the low. And then from there, what do you get? You get the creation of MBs. You get the creation of MBs that become opportunities, or larger time frame MBs that become larger opportunities. And from there, just like I said, within that action, you're going to start getting mini moves that will become valid lower time frame trades, because these are trades that you want to take fast, that will go for small profits, and then will likely do what? Go for a small profit and stop you out of break even, and then keep going. This is how markets move. This is literally hand in hand right here how markets move. You'll have your large entries that will go on to make those bigger moves. You'll have those mini entries that will go on to make very nice profits off of mini entries and come back to take you out. Or in some very small cases where the trend is extremely powerful, we'll make a move. So again, this webinar itself is already turning out to be a full educational piece of material. But again, the stuff covered here, these are basically the two entries and the two ways that prices will make setups, and the setups that are valid to be traded. This is exactly what he traded. Nothing more. This is the exact same move. Overall structural delivery, overall MB formation, mini MB formation that creates some moves up high or not at all. All right, and then on the way up, in the event that it continues moving, you start getting your mini setups inside. So this is a setup that goes and comes back to break even after a nice partial, right? This is the idea of trading the 10 and 20 off of the mini moves, right? So like if I'm looking at this right here in itself is a mini valid trade. It's a very good trade, but you have to be very smart with these, because as you enter it, you're actually probably breaking even on this trade right here. That's probably a break even. Then you might even enter this one, and this one ends up probably being a break even as well. Then you might enter this one, and this one probably ends up being, actually a very nice win, a mini win. You take a partial and then you take a break even, because these would become the scalps into the move. So these are two forms of entries that are valid. Both are very powerful, but you need to understand which entry you're entering when you're taking a trade, right? So because a lot of people don't recognize that when they're entering something like this with the larger setup, you're entering the potential larger move. You should be looking for a way to manage into, right? You're looking for a way to manage into this move and to take that move higher, which is exactly what SFT did. And he traded this thing and he got to catch it much higher. Now, if you're entering a system where you're entering into that mini setup, you need to be aware of what you're doing there, because the management, the approach, the break even, the management, the things you're doing is going to have to be a lot faster, right? I think it was here. Yeah. Yeah, I started to watch this thing for an entry. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah. Perfectly fine, perfectly fine. So there you are, right? But again, you can almost remember this if you want to. This is the true delivery of a market. This is literally how markets deliver. On an entry time frame, this is what's going to happen. And again, that's the first step of EBC. Right, this is like your entire approach right here. This is where it all starts. And I'm gonna get some more portal content out for you guys this week on this stuff right here. But the stuff you've learned so far, right, in regards to the delivery of trend and delivery of structure, or just the beginning parts of this structural delivery, that's the entry time frame based approach. Understanding what the entry time frame does. Right, so we can go to any setup that you guys have traded, and we're gonna see this. We're going to see this exact same thing repeat in some way. It's a snowflake, of course, in regards to the fact that it repeats, but it's a little bit different every time. But you're going to see this exact same thing repeat. So a lot of you know I traded ESS this week. I'm actually still in it, okay? I'm in this trade right here. So if you look at it, you have the same thing. Validation time frame, moves higher, kind of gets tight across the top, which is what I was looking for. And then if I look at the 65-minute, do you guys see anything new or different in regards to what's going on here? All right, you're gonna see the exact same thing, and then you have the MBs, 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 and I bought through the MB buy stop. That's it. Now, if you didn't buy this MB buy stop, let me ask you a question now based on what you've learned. If you didn't buy through this MB buy stop right there, what's going to be true about any setup that might happen up here or higher up in the case that a trend begins? What's going to be true about that setup? Yes, it's going to be late for this kind of move, but not necessarily late, but the thing, like everyone else is saying, it's a scalp. It needs to be a scalp. It needs to be managed differently. So for instance, if your setup is to wait for the move to start, and then you want to take an entry through the impulsivity, through the momentum, your entry becomes potentially this buy stop with your stop under this low. And really, any move higher now should be a break even. So I don't know if that happens. Yeah, so this would just take you out and you can re-enter through this high or this high. But this at that moment, and this is too big of a stop, this at that moment becomes a break even no matter what. No matter how you entered this, it's a break even now. And you have to basically partial into strength quickly. So this itself should be your first partial. Because the second you're entering through the higher portions of a stage 2, you're instantly in a market environment that's different for the given trade, where the entry becomes a lot likelier to actually come back and then go, to come back and then go. So you need to understand that, because it changes the overall approach. And again, this will be in the portal. So this right here is a very profitable trade, but you need to learn and understand how this trade works in the scenario that you're trading, let's say the momentum of the move, right? And yeah, I'm in this right now. Yeah, I'm in this, right? There's nothing for me to do now. I just have to wait. Like hopefully in the next few days, again, what are we? 5. Yeah, I think like if it makes a move to like 290, 291, I'll take a partial. I'll probably take a partial around here. Like around there. Because again, like I'm just looking at, you can look at it, but in general, something like this. So I'm gonna wait for a partial up into the strength, and then I'll let the rest run for free. 1 minute Bitcoin just blasted. Actually be on it. No way you guys are sitting here trading Bitcoin right now, guys. Can we, okay, let's relax. Let's have a nice little Sunday without going wild. What's this saying? Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good. Good for you guys. There might be something in there. It's a little bit of a harder one, but yeah, there's an opportunity in there for sure. This is just, yeah, MB1, MB2. Yeah, I mean, great trade. And now, right, here's the thing, like if you're trading up here, I mean, this looks a little bit too big, but if this takes some time and starts coming up and does something like this, there's gonna be a trade here that does something like this, and that should be your entire basically break even and profit. Because at that point, price will either explode or it will just likely do something like this or like this, right? Which is why if you're positioned here and it doesn't take you out, you're set for a move. Yeah, so Anthony, you said you took this one. Good, good for you. Good for you. Let me go back up here and see what's going on. Bitcoin setting up right now. Yeah, I mean, this was a great trade. If you took this, really good. This is beautiful stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is easy. Like this should be your 50% partial. 1, 2, 3, or actually you can look at the 6 minute, right? Yeah, I mean, you had crazy strength. If it gives another strength, I would easily break partial there, but this is an easy break even already, and this either goes now or doesn't, right? This is one of those moments. But yeah, very good job. Okay, but we're not looking at setups right now. We're not trading on Sunday here, so at least I'm not. You guys are free to do whatever works for you, though. Took some inspiration from the portal and the recent YouTube videos to start collecting data on a slightly different way of entry on the 5 minute. Crazy, crazy high win rate with an average win of 6 RR. That's insane. Listen, if this continues, which I think it needs to, I think this will decrease, hopefully to like 30%, because even then it'll be so profitable. This is insane. Like insane. This thing is just gonna scale to like all-time highs like instantly, dude. These are insane values. Like, if you told me you were new, I'd be like, you're lying to yourself in some way, right? But if this is real testing and you're being honest with yourself in your testing, then this is amazing. You know, like you should get this number to 500, 400, literally. And if this maintains or even drops off a little, you're set to start actualizing the result, as I like to call it. But yeah, dude, very good. Every webinar someone died. Yeah. Happy to be here. Gone through 62% already. Good. There's only going to be more now. Manoff says, joining the Webby through my phone and walking to Tim Hortons for coffee. Very good, man. Anton, Bitcoin on the 1 minute, good. Looking for ICIs right now. Listen, we're not here to trade live, but yes, this was a phenomenal trade. Now you should be managed at break even 100%. And this does not look like it's going to set up one of those quicker setups, so I would ignore this until it comes up. And maybe it'll make a setup right here. But, and that should be a fast one. Like, it'll be a fast one that'll do something like this. But yeah, this was a great trade for anyone that took it. But stop, we're not trading live right now, okay? Let's relax. So many crypto pumps. Listen, money moves in cyclical ways. All the money for a long time has been in NASDAQ, in futures, because NASDAQ, same thing, and in cryptos. So a lot of the NQ people, a lot of people trading cryptos are making a lot of money, right? This has been an exceptional market for about, as I love to say, for about 514 days. So for the last almost 2 years, anybody trading on NAS or NQ, for the most part, has made money. That's how trading works. The problem with a lot of people is they get so attached, right, as we love to say, to the market condition, that they forget that they're not profitable because they're trading this given market. They're profitable because the context on that given market is good. So The crypto pumps, the big crypto runs, they will end. The NQ runs, the NQ pumps, the stock pumps, the stock runs are going to end at some point for a good bit of time. And during that time, people that don't know what's going on are going to lose a lot of money. During that time, people that don't know what's going on are going to lose a lot of money. During that time, people that don't know what's going on, especially if we go into a 4-year, 3-year sideways environment, are going to lose a lot of money, right? People are going to lose a lot of money. People are going to lose a lot of money, okay? Because there's going to come a time where the context is not going to be clear. And the people that are continuing to just randomly throw trades because they heard that crypto's really good, or NASDAQ's really hot, or the next AI, or Tesla, or whatever it is very hot, right? So again, just to remind you guys, people on Tesla have been losing money for about 900 days, 1,000 days. So for about 4 years, people have been losing money on Tesla because they really want to see another run like this. And another run like this might happen. It might happen now. Well, actually, it's setting up very nicely. Or it might happen in a few years. The problem is a lot of people don't know how to wait for that. I know when this first came out, a lot of people were behind this ARK thing. A lot of people. Just so you guys know, most people that started investing in this thing, because I remember following this, I remember seeing people do it live in my life, started getting invested in it here. They were like, damn, this thing's really good. And now they've been bag holding, okay, for about 1,300 days, 3, 6, 9, 12, about 5 years, 4.5 years, they've been bag holding this thing. And this thing might never see the light of day again. Or it will, but all those people are going to be out of money, right? Time is money. And this is money wasted. Because the moves were here. The moves were here. This is just people that are being dumb, right? And this is true for any market. Money will enter markets and then exit markets. When money enters markets, those markets are going to be very nice, very clean, and can be very nice and very clean for a long period of time. And during those periods of time, you will get nice opportunities. You'll get nice opportunities, right? You'll get nice, maybe nice opportunities in here and onwards, upwards, and throughout all of this nonsense. And then you'll get that loss of opportunity. And then there'll be hope. And then the hope will instantly go away. So I wouldn't even be trading this. But at this point, I can guarantee you right here, you probably had the highest, I'm going to just show you this like almost visually, highest influx. Like, this is what you need to understand about the market. I believe right around here, you probably had the highest influx of people starting to purchase this, right? When they were looking at this and looking at the previous action and understanding and looking at the fundamentals, because at the time, the fundamentals at this point, I can guarantee you, if you go and start looking at fundamentals, the fundamentals at this point were very clear for this company and very good, or for this ETF or whatever you want to call it, because they've been proven to be well. Right? This is where likely the highest, so I just want you to view this visually, because once you understand this, you start thinking about trends and market movements a completely different way. This is where that highest influx of people started to invest in this, because remember, this is what they see. This is what people see. And when you see this, right, and you don't have a background as a trader or someone that's done the testing, you really, really want to expect one thing. You're like, fuck, I missed out on taking $1 million that I might have saved over the last 15 years. And I missed out on a 200% run. If I put $1 million in and just let it sit there, I'd be at $4 million right now. So you invest your million here and you say, okay, I'll be okay even if it just goes up a little bit, like to 180. And now your $1 million is worth 300K. Sorry about that. Have fun. This is how trading for the average person looks like and works. That's how investing for the average person looks like and works. So our goal as traders is to understand the inconsistency in approach, in thought process, in poor management that comes from every single person that gets involved in this that hasn't spent a good bit of time doing it, and take advantage of it. That's what we do as traders. You see the currently shift from QQQ to RTY. The Russell. Yeah, I mean, money's coming into it for sure. Yeah. This means what? What's RTY? The 2000 index futures. I don't know what this is made up of, but yeah. I mean, definitely money's shifting into this as well, for sure. Literally looks like Bitcoin, right? Almost like Bitcoin. If anything, it's even shifting a little bit out of RTY and going into Bitcoin, but this is very bullish, yeah. One thing I've noticed over the last few months is that Bitcoin has become more sensitive to news after the Bitcoin ETF. Was not the case before. It's always been the same, dude. It's always been sensitive to news. That's nonsense. I'm pretty sure Bitcoin went on its first run over some kind of news. Like, I think the run that happened here was over some kind of news. So no, nothing's become more sensitive to anything. It's all the same thing. The only thing that's happened, Vlad, is when you have an ETF made of something, you have an influx of actual institutions entering, which means that as institutions, larger money composite operators begin to enter at that large of a level, you start to get moves that are more clear and in line with what you see on anything that has money come into it like that, at that high level. Because a lot before was not institutional based, very high end, billions, trillions coming in or out. That's it. iPhone says, how would you approach the longer sideways surf range on Tesla on one day as validation in 2020, September, October? With your new system, do you still trade if the ETF is in bearish mode like redistribution? It depends on the actual move, man. So one was 2020, September, October. August, September, October. So around here. You trade it. This is fine action. I probably would have taken a move inside of there and taken a break even or a loss, probably a break even. And then you kind of keep building this up, you keep going sideways, and then it just gaps up. So there's probably something in here. I would trade inside of there. Whatever goes down there, I trade it, right? I mean, at this point, you're going to see the same thing, right? When I step down to the 65 minute now, what are you guys going to see on the entry time frame before I even do it? Like, you guys should know. All of you should know. What are the blue flag? Ignore them here. Nothing. What do you guys think I'm going to see if I go to a 65 minute now? Which is my entry time frame. So remember, like, this is my entry. And right now, we're on the validation. So the validation is surfing and getting tight. So what are you going to see on the entry time frame? Nope. I disagree with everything. Yeah, perfect. Anthony, Alex, not Maki, Zoom user. Zoom user, the guy that said he's new, or first webinar, got it right. Structure. You're going to see the thing I just drew. You're going to see an overall structural delivery of some sort. Inside of it, you're going to see likely some kind of structure along these lines that starts to create the anticipation of the higher low rule. And from there, you're going to see the validation of an MB of some sort, a larger MB formation. And you're going to see a move that goes higher, followed by mini setups that go, give you the entry, give you an instant break even that then either just take you out and then go, or end up delivering. Over and over again, it's the same thing. And you're going to learn this in the portal as well, because I'm making that available. But let's go. Right, so for the guy that asked about it, here we go. We had a structural delivery. It got really ugly, got really choppy, and then all of a sudden, you have the impulse to the higher low to the potential higher high. Inside of it, you have the anticipation of the higher low rule. Okay, from there you have MB1. MB2 begins to form. This on its own becomes a validified entry. What happens? You guessed it, it gaps up, right? That can be an entry as is, or it's now going to create shorter term entries along the lines of what? It's going to go, it's going to pause, it's going to create an entry, and from there it's either going to be an instant break even to take you out, or it's going to deliver. That's it. So if you're entering through the gap, then great. You probably enter like this, stop under this, which is too large anyway, so I probably would not take this. Instead, you could buy stop the high, throw stop under candle. Buy stop the high, throw stop under candle, Buy stop high, throw stop under candle. And actually already you're getting the mini ICI setups along the MAs. This is where one of these mini entries can work really well. This is where when you take an entry like this one, with your stop, let's say under this low or under this low, you're gonna see price tap you in and instant break even, and then it either goes or it fails down, right? Yep, so right there, this starts. On the next candle, you would break even. So right there, you'd break even on this move, right? Is the way that you would think about this setup out of this. Because what's happening is you're getting that first mini setup across the rising averages. So this is one of those points where you could literally partial on the next candle if it goes up, and then you just move to break even and wait, right? So this would be an example of a partial followed by stop. Well, stop is already at break even, partial, and then you manage the rest accordingly, right? And then you're going to get another setup like that. If this wants to set up, it's going to make another one somewhere here probably. So you wait. Okay, well, this one's hard to trade. I would probably not touch it. Then you get this mini sideways. This is, again, one of those areas where like a mini CS, actually, forget that word because I have not taught that yet. But this is where another buy stop of a high or a high is going to create the same opportunity where you're going to get a very quick break even, right? So you get entered, one move higher, and this would be a break even on its own. So right there on the end of that candle, you would move to break even. On the next candle, if it goes up, you'd probably partial, and you do the same thing. Nothing to do, nothing to do, nothing to do. You'd partial 50%, and the rest, you would let it run however you see fit, right? This is how prices deliver over and over and over again. There's nothing new. The reason this one worked out so well and multiple times is because this ended up being a really good run due to what the validation time frame was doing. Right? That all came from that understanding there. And it all came from the knowledge that on the entry time frame, we would begin to put in that member portal structural approach, and the MBs would begin to formulate, and those MBs, which are demand validations literally on higher time frames, are beginning to hold themselves through. That's what's happening here. That's that move. That's where that's coming from. And then again, like I said, right? Those are the opportunities that become available to you, and off you go. And then up here, you know, you can keep trading these mini ones, but again, you'd be breaking even here, partialing here, letting the rest go. Then again, same thing, entry here, or you wait for another pause, just like that. Again, enter through the high, break even instantly if it taps you in. So again, this would be an insta loss. And you just repeat this, right? If you wanted to trade it, and then the trend is lost. So you'd stop trading it like that. But that is how markets operate. That is how markets deliver. And for the guy that asked, that is how, again, I would approach the overall move here. Because I know that on the weekly, yeah, I mean, like, this is perfect. I know the context time frame is going to be in a beautiful, coming out of a stage 2 of this. That's stage 1. The stage 2 started. We had multiple stage 2s higher. Now we're just in another stage 1 that actually lines up beautifully with that validation time frame. Same thing. Gets tight. And price breaks out and starts making another move higher. That's it. Nothing more. On repeat. That doesn't matter what you're looking at. So that is how you would set up an EVC breakout iPhone as per the systems taught here. Nikita says, so why did you decide to trade if the daily was under the MAs? Where and when? John says, was that short one-day correction enough sideways for you? Well, clearly, I did not trade it, right? Yes, though, due to the fact that it's the initial push, first proof of a stage 2, and the first pause, yes, this could be easily a tradable moment. I would definitely have traded it on MSTR if I saw it. I think this is great because you have an overall stage 1, very well built. Range gets tight right here while surfing higher on the rising 50 and rising 10. Yeah, I would have definitely traded this if I was there, but I didn't, right? So again, like, it is what it is. Would have been a beautiful trade though. And you're gonna see the same thing, right? One of the reasons I also passed up is because I didn't see a super clear 65 minute also, right? I just didn't see one. Like, you had the rules met. I'll show you. So you had the rules met, right? You had an overall structure. You started getting the anticipation of the high or low rule, but you can see there wasn't really a double MB that proved itself. you had an inside of an inside fractal 1, fractal 2. So that's like your fractal double MB right there. But that's harder to spot. That's a lot harder to spot, at least for me. So I skipped that, right? And then I missed the rest. You can see that like on a 15 or a 5, you did have that same kind of setup that I'm talking about, where you get the move, the mini correction pullback, and you can enter through the high or the high. And then you manage this really quickly. And then it either becomes a move or it doesn't. But I did not trade any of that. Those are just examples of the thing that we just kind of went over as examples of opportunities out of a move. But yeah, like I didn't see the general setup here, right? If you had looked at this like this, so if you had looked at this along these lines, because this is still correct, right? Then you would have likely, very likely, taken this thing higher, right? Because then you started to, right? So if you saw it in this, if you saw it like this, right? Because again, there's not a perfect structural approach to the markets. If there was, everyone would be profitable and it'd be nonsense. This is why I've never taught this specific way, right? Instead, there's an understanding to how markets tend to deliver. And if you had looked at it like this, right? This being your impulse, this being that higher low, this being the formation of true demand, as we like to call it, which is what it's about to validate, right? This is literally starting to create this leg right now. So, you know, this is why in one sense of the word, crypto might be moving to 85K, 80K or whatever, because, you know, MSTR is basically a crypto stock. Pretty sure. I'll just do this. What is it? I'll just show you guys. I'm just gonna type in crypto. Yeah, they're just, you know, you can just do this. So you know what the general thing is. Again, this is not me using fundamentals. This is me understanding what a market is actually, is tied to. So like I can do this. So you just remember that it's Bitcoin. Basically, it's Bitcoin. It's going to move with Bitcoin. So if this is showing a lot of strength and moving well and setting up, and it's validating demand and it's doing everything the portal has taught you to look for, that tells you a story of what crypto is likely to do. Which is why, you know, I might have missed a crypto move. That's okay. Or it pauses, builds a leg, and then MB, MB, and off we are. This is where I'll trade it. Just like GBTC, where it might go sideways now, blah, 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 and I can trade it higher. Just like Bitcoin USD, where it might go sideways now, and then I can trade it, just like I spoke about at the very beginning of the webinar, in reference to the fact that this does not have to be the move, but it might be. And if it does set up, then I'll be behind this. You guys should be kind of seeing firsthand how everything is related, or the things that are related to the actual crypto or the actual Bitcoin, or have been showing strength, are just they're doing the same thing. All of them, for the most part, doing the same thing, right? And then we can do this. Actually, this one's not as clean, right? It's pretty ugly. This is cleaner. And again, you can sub out as you see fit. This is the really cool thing about starting to understand how markets are tied together, right? You now have more information right here than most people understand about anything, just like this, okay? So to answer the question, it's not that it's short or too long. It's an understanding of what is the market doing. Because again, it's not always about the pattern. Well, it's actually very rarely about the pattern. Very rarely. So yeah, that's what's happening. And that's the entirety of like the move. That goes directly into what you guys see firsthand in the portal. A lot of you that have seen the portal all the way through so far to what's available should be able to look at this. Even if you're brand new, should be able to look at this and for the most part, at least on the entry time frame, understand why these were potential opportunities for entry. And I hope a lot of you that are new are able to look at it and say, yeah, even though, you know, there's a lot of lines here, even though he's looking at other time frames, I'm not sure what he's doing there yet. Looking at an entry time frame, or in this case, a 65-minute, in reference to what I saw in the portal, this makes sense as to how the MBs are forming. Supply and demand is being validated. The perfect quote-unquote structure move is happening. And given that he told me to watch MSTR, I would have been able to potentially trade this. That's where I want your mind to go to. Because the second your mind can do that, then you're going to be able to improve it from there on out, right? Let me scroll down and then I'll go back up so I just see what people are saying. Anthony says 100% portal, waiting for the sauce to drop again. I got you, man. All right, I think we're looking good here. Okay, I'm gonna go back up for a sec and go from wherever we ended up. But a lot of you from the portal directly should be able to see what's up in terms of, you know, what we've been looking at. The recent videos on YouTube that Ment posted helped me a ton. Good. I'm very happy to hear that, man. Very happy to hear that. I'm waiting for this to take Bitcoin to 80K. Oh, this is a photo. Okay, so anybody that's confused, this is a photo of previous action that he pasted from somewhere on the left to this point here. So this is where crypto is right now. So exactly, this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? If it can hopefully even correct even more, like you can see it correct and then do this, that would be perfect because that'll set up the perfect precedent for the MBs to deliver that move, right? Exactly, exactly. Like this is a great way to think about it. So, you know, he's looking at a previous trade and he's just copy pasting it to real price. And this is exactly how I want you to think, because instead of thinking, oh my God, I missed the move, I'm fucked, you know, I'm never gonna get it, I don't know what I'm doing, the move is gone without me, right? Because it might be, don't get me wrong. Instead, understand what you're used to seeing and wait for that thing to occur. So like the idea now is instead of getting all up in arms about this and getting very sad about it and thinking like, you know, you really missed the move, which, you know, maybe we did, but instead of thinking that way, instead, you can approach along, actually, let's find one that actually ended up being really nice, like this one, right? You can actually just end up thinking about price like this, right? Where instead of forcing things just because it might move without you, you just say, okay, it's fine. You know, instead, wait, how did I do this? What did I want to do? I needed the up move. Okay, yeah, my bad, here. Instead, you can do something along these lines, where you think about the market a little bit differently. Here we go. And you realize that even if you're late, you might actually be, here we go, let me scale this properly. So remember this up candle? I'm just gonna put this up candle over that up candle. This might be the move that's coming up. So all I have to do is if it wants to form higher or lower, I don't care, I'll wait. Because then it'll start surfing the MAs, it'll create that little range across the top, and this is where I'll be happy to enter it. And then we'll go up to our 80K, 89K, whatever. Because it's how markets move. So instead of sitting here getting all upset over the fact that you might have missed this, which we still might have, just be aware that setups form. They come and go. The market's cyclical. It can set up in different ways over and over and over again. For all we know, this move right here, this one, might be this move right here. So this might follow in the next coming week or the next weeks right here. Does everyone see how these two things, based on how they deliver, are the exact same thing? There's nothing different. There's nothing special. All we're doing is allowing price to develop into its potential move, right? In the case that it's not ready to go just yet. That's all I'm doing. Vlad says, add ZRO USDT to your watch list, bros. We'll be stocking next week. Well, this thing sort of had its move, unless you're looking at a much lower time frame, right? Like, this was perfect, though. Yeah, this is perfect. Through this 4.28 level, phenomenal. Again, you're going to see the exact same thing. Yeah, I mean, this is just, it's just easy and perfection, right? Just... And there's your mini entry of the tiny MB, and there's your delivery, right? So now, if you're looking for like entries on the 65, then you're gonna see very short term, like move higher, pause, tiny move, that's your profit, or break even, followed by the average, or followed by the delivery into a bigger move, right? So like, this is the exact same thing right here as we see on every single pair. And yeah, if you saw this before, which should have been what's been shown up before, then phenomenal. Because look at this. When Bitcoin was going down the shitter up until around the 7th of July, and then started going higher. What did this thing do? 7th of July was here. When Bitcoin was going into the shitter, this thing surfed the rising 10 and 20. Right? This is screaming at you. The composite operator is buying this thing up for some reason. Right? And then it surfs, creates that tight range across the top, and boom. Delivery. Beautiful. So yeah, Vlad, looking at this, you know, your eye should have been on this back here. Back here. This was phenomenal. This was Saturday. Yeah, wow. Saturday delivery. Jesus. Beautiful to see it. Jay says, anyone that hasn't watched all the videos in the course on the website portal really helps so much to understand everything. Such a great job. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. CMD says, inside stage 2, there are fractal stage 1s and 2s. This thing is on fire. Yeah, of course, of course. It's RTY. Yeah. So, I mean, if this, I don't know what this looked like on a higher, but if this was forming like a nice little area, something like that, then this was a great trade, maybe even a little bit higher. And then you had, again, the mini ones, right? Mini trades that end up going for a little bit and then deliver, go for a little bit and then deliver. And then your failure down, which takes those out. And now the get ready for the next move higher, right? Or come down further, build for a long term and then go. But yeah, like it's a little hard to see here. I don't, you know, this entry is harder to see. There may be something there, but it's harder for me to see that one. Sorrel says, this way that you are describing how the market moves with the green and black structure reminds me of the golden goose. Yep, that's where it came from. There's nothing new, nothing new. If you guys remember the golden goose, it's literally what this is. When you zoom out and you start understanding what the overall move is doing, and then you follow the inside of it, you start understanding how breakdowns in structure or price are actually putting in motion new moves higher, and from those get formed your MB deliveries. Those are your entries. Within larger unvalidated ones, because those become what? That's right. Validated demand. So at this point, if this market's gonna go, it's likely never returning here, right? Or right here. It's likely never coming back to 4.4, which is why if you got involved in any of these MBs, you are in a phenomenal position here. Because this is either now ready for demand to truly take over, because guess what? If Bitcoin goes up, this thing is gonna have the run of a lifetime. This thing is going at minimum to like 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that, maybe, okay? Beautiful. I mean, it's the same thing on repeat, the same thing. This is literally, where's my thing? So for anyone that still has not seen the portal stuff, you need to watch it because I will reference it over and over and over again. But this is what we call, this thing will load. This is what we call the perfect world, but not so perfect. This is what formed. That's what's formed here. And your entry was through the formation of that happening. And your entry was, of course, based on the exact same thing you see over and over again. Structure within structure, MBs building within the structure, MBs delivering. And if you got in on those, then you're in for the long run. If you got in on the higher ones, you should be managing quicker, and the move comes. And that's it. The market repeats itself. And does it move in a super clear fashion like you've been taught to think it moves? Where it's a perfect little higher high and higher low? No, because that's not how true supply and demand works. Instead, you get the real move, which looks a little bit something like this. And all that's happened now is the people that have gotten positioned basically right here. This is where I think ZRO, whatever it's called, USD is. Because what's happening is you got positioned, you got the mini moves, and then price took off. And now, if this is the true move, price will not return, demand is in motion, and you're gonna get clear delivery that might even end up in even bigger delivery. That's it, right? That's it, folks. That's the entire market in a nutshell. That's why this is why I put this thing together, because I want you to actually understand how the market operates in one go. This is it. And you're seeing it kind of live even on price right now. Like, This is something that someone has been watching or has an eye on. Now, I don't know why he didn't have an eye on it back here, right? When this thing was literally showing insane strength. But luckily, the upgraded screener will have elements of relativity, so you can compare and find things that are being relatively strong, which should be very helpful for some people. This is beautiful, right? This should have been traded out of here, for sure. But that's okay, it happens. But yes, Sorel, you're completely correct. It's exactly that. Yeah, Anthony took it. Very good. That's literally the one we saw at the beginning, right? And it failed back down. So there's your break even. Very good. And you can see this setup here never manifested. The trend never came, and all you do is you pull out. And that's because the actual demand formation never formed, right? It never probably closed on its higher time frame, never validated demand, and it's just making a bigger move now, right? It just might be making some kind of longer term thing that isn't really worth watching just yet until it becomes cleaner. What's the 6 minute up to? Yeah, maybe something soon. Not sure. We need to wait a little bit. But yep, exactly. I don't trade the weekend though, so okay. I gotta get off this because you guys are gonna get me into my lower time frame crackhead stuff, and we're gonna start taking everything. I think it was here. Bitcoin popping right now. Oh yeah, you're trading that. I hate these candles so much. They're so annoying. Take that, get that shit out of here. Just go get the Ment volume and look at the volume instead. It's so much better. I think I made it free. Ment volume simple. There you go. Use that. Don't use the candle volumes. They just look so bad. Can then use the 1 hour as validation, then enter on the 10 minute as entry. Of course. Yeah. That's exactly what you can do. 100%. Let's say you're trading. I mean, I don't know what stuff would look good on the hourly. What ESS do? Yeah, I mean, so like this might have been a, well, it's a harder one. It's a harder one. I don't see it actually. What probably is set up on the hourly? Maybe like MSTR, okay? So like here on the 10 minute, right? So if you notice it surfs along the rising 50. Again, I don't have the SMAs on, but that's fine. Kind of goes sideways here. Probably like through this high here, you're gonna see some kind of formation of that same thing on the 10 minute. So if I go to the 10 minute, right, you're gonna see an overall structural delivery. Within that structural delivery, you'll have the inside structure that follows the rule of the anticipation of the higher low. Then you'll get MB, MB, and again, you have the simple formation of this, or you enter a little bit higher to give it space to go. Throw the stop under the candle or under the MAs, and this would be your 10 minute entry based on the exact same thing, right? Move to break even and manage accordingly. But it's the same thing, right? If you're entering a 10 minute, then you use a 60 minute as your validation. You wait for that surf, you wait for that stage 1 into stage 2 potential. You step down and you allow the structure to form. And then what do you get from there? You get those mini moves that go and break even, that go and break even, that go, make you money, and now if they want to go, they can go, or they come back and break even and then go. Because that's how the market operates, right? Those are basically your two ways of entering a market or any given setup on an entry time frame, and those will be covered, as I love to say, in the course material, because yeah, they're the two most powerful ways to get into a trend or get into a move that will work out, even if it's short term. Would the 10 minute ICI that's set up on the Bitcoin be valid? I don't know. So 10 minute means that you're probably looking at a 60 minute EVC, right? Okay, let me pull out the SMAs now. Let me delete all this. So much stuff going on. Right, so it sails higher on the 50. It does put in like this little tight range across the top. Yeah, there might be a 10 minute setup in there, for sure. Structurally, we're there. MBs are a little bit hard because this came all the way down. But yeah, I mean, you have the formation of some MB here and then this large one. It's a harder trade. It's much harder. I would not trade it. I don't see it, right? But this is theoretically a trade. and then you're either still in this or at break even now, right? But this is a harder one. I probably would skip it. But yes, there's validity there, of course. Just follow the rules, right? Follow the rules over and over and over again. Yeah. Yeah. Can you talk more about good versus bad surfs or validation? Sometimes the shark fin lines you draw seem kind of random. You want to see something that's relatively strong, that has a good context, and has good momentum for the most part, or good context, or has good relativity, strength-wise. Go, come back to a rising 10, 20, or 50. I build some kind of range below it, or an expansion out of it, sets a precedent for a move higher, and then your entry time frame validates it, as per the other examples today. That's it, John. Schelling's bros catching runners whilst in class. Yeah, it's crazy. You guys are literally crackheads. Just wait till the week starts. Come on now. Mommy, look over there, crypto traders. Don't look at them, Ricky. I don't want you to be influenced by, oh god, no, Ricky. Hodl Lambo, going to the moon. Yeah. I mean, this is every trader, though. Ali says, bro, the new mastery course helped my understanding of the markets a lot. Thank you. No problem, G. I got you. I got you. John Brown says, personally, do you avoid sells and bearish markets even if the EVC alignment is good? I only seem to see you in the longs. I mean, I took a short like a week ago. It's the same thing, but shorts on Forex make a lot more sense, to put it simply. Or in very good bearish markets. We don't have a good bearish market right now, so I have no shorts to take. And the reality of a lot of shorts is that you only stand to gain at max 100%. That's it. On the long side, you stand to gain anything, infinite, because of the bottom line being zero, unless you're like Forex trading. So I just haven't had a good bearish market to trade. There's not one. Right? That's really it. More money in the asset. Yeah, this is the little cheat sheet. Yeah, I mean, this is just it's just basic, right? How it works. Price starts, you get your first good setup, entries, you get maybe a setup here. It's kind of harder, but potential setups. You start watching, it fails down, nothing to do, ignore the market, but everyone else is still in it, and they lose all their money, and it's fine. And then, yeah, you get a little rally, and then sometimes it resets, and then it starts making new all-time highs. But I'm not here for the luck game, right? I'm just here to play the thing that works. Yeah, you took that too. Nice. What are the blue flag colors on your watch list? There are none anymore. There you go. It doesn't mean anything. It was probably something that like just meant keep an eye on it, or something that has worked out, just to go study it, something like that. I just color code stuff that happens throughout the week and then take a look at it at the end. So do you always want to see that mini leg with a flush / reaccumulation on the entry time frame? It's not that I want to see it, it's just that it happens. So if it doesn't happen, my detectors, my red alerts, whatever you want to call them, go off, right? Because every setup that tends to be very good does it, which is why I teach it, right? Here's my NVIDIA setup, if you remember it. What do you see about the setup? All right, we can just start from here. It's fine. Right, what do you see about the setup? It's just the case that when the setup is good and works, it tends to just do the same thing every single time. So it's not that I always want to see it. It's just that if I don't see it, that market is telling me something. That market's telling me, hey, I'm not ready yet. Hey, even though I might look good on the validation time frame, I don't want to go yet. So this is an example where, for instance, let's see. Maybe you're like, maybe you start asking yourself if No, I don't even see anything. I don't even see anything worth looking at anyway. Okay, maybe you start asking yourself if, hey, can I look inside of this action here where it's going sideways? Like right here. Maybe you ask yourself, hey, you know, it's starting to surf, it's starting to go sideways. Can I look inside of it? Let's go check. And then you drop down lower, and then you want to see the same thing. Actually, I do see it. Well, so in this case, it doesn't matter because you do get the move, and you get an MB. You don't get a second MB. Yeah, and then it just takes off, so you can't really do anything. So you have to skip it anyway, and you have to wait for the better setup, or trade the inside moves there, and then you wait, and it comes down, and it starts to kind of formulate maybe something here, but there's nothing here yet, so you wait, and then it gets a little bit tighter while surfing higher on the rising 50, but it's a little bit loose. I don't know. It's a hard one. So maybe you step down just to look at what it looks like on a lower, and you see, you see this take out the low. So now you don't really have the same structure. You have like this leg, and that gets taken out. So for me right here, I just assume it's not ready because it's not doing what I'm used to seeing. So I go back here and I wait. Even if it takes off now, I just wait because there's nothing for me to do if it's not lining up. So I wait, and then maybe now it might be clean, right? So maybe it starts forming something. We'll go inside of it. Same thing, right? Doesn't make sense. So again, it's still the same kind of thing. It's starting to make a structural break, but it's just ugly and weird. So again, I just wait. Maybe it gets clearer later, right? And then it goes without me. And then it comes down, maybe it gets tighter, then you go back inside. And structurally, you start to put it in, and you maybe get a version of the anticipation rule here. So maybe you choose to start trading it through these MBs, right? So that might be one way that you use it. But here I might have just missed the move overall. And you can take that higher. Also does something like that, which is great. Yeah, so either way might have been a break even or a win, I don't know, but that's how I use it. It's what I see, which is why I taught you to start looking for it, because the general cycle of the market is that if the move is going to be clear, if a move is going to happen, it's going to undergo some kind of move like that over and over again. It's all it does. It's all it does. Like, go and study every move. And it's what the market wants to do. Jay says, so grateful I found this mentorship and this great community with an amazing team. Okay, man. Thank you so much. You're very kind for that. Mahmood says, would you trade those just off the 1 hour or use the 1 hour as validation and take it on the 10 minute? That's your answer. Anthony posts an absolutely disgustingly good curve. Like, again, I look at this, all I'm thinking is you got to be on a funded account with a prop, on your own personal, on something. Even if it's tiny, even if it's simulated, you need to start trading this thing. You need to start doing it live for yourself, right? But I mean, this looks phenomenal. There's nothing else to say about this. Like, this looks really good. Anytime I see something like this, it's all I'm thinking, right? Like, it's good that you have this, right? You could get this up higher if you really wanted to, but I mean, there's clear edge here. If you're being honest with yourself, I know there's edge here. Like, there's no world where this is dishonesty, because I can see there's consistent losses, and the losses are not the large type where people that have systems like this just do this once the system is, when they blow up because they're martingaling or whatever, or doubling up, or averaging down. This looks like edge to me, right? So you should be executing a version of this somewhere. On Bitcoin, the daily was a bit under the MAs. Where? This is, I don't know what you're talking about there, to be honest. Joe says, does it matter that my RR is lower than my overall trades taken? This was all taken at fixed RR 1 to 3, but I'm looking to play around with the partial to find out the best. My RR is lower than my trades taken. Why would that matter? Does it matter that your RR is lower than the trades taken? That should be able to be answered by you in a split second. Could you go through some potential ICI entries on Sol USDT on 10 minute from 14th of July onwards? Did you go and study them yourself? Can you post an example of one? 14th of July onwards. 14th of July. Yeah, same exact setup as crypto. Literally the exact same. That's your daily. You want to enter on the 10 minute? Okay, so you look at the hourly. You're going to get an entry in here. You might get one in here. It's a little bit ugly. I'll probably ignore it. It's harder. It just looks a little bit more loose. You're definitely going to get one in there, and you're definitely going to get one in there. Go study them. Same moves as always. I'm just going to draw them quick. MB, MB. That's your trade. Okay. MB, MB, that's your trade or that's your trade. That's your delivery. MB, MB, that's your trade. This is your potential delivery. Go study the market, dude. Go to it. Go to the hourly. Ask yourself, where are moments where the 10 minutes starts to do the things that I've learned? Where is that happening? What kind of opportunities were made available? Is there an opportunity in here even though it might have looked ugly? Where might it be? What might it look like? Right? Where else could there be opportunities? Well, you start getting this move out of there, there might be another one in here. There probably actually is one, you know? Through that high. As this got tight across the top, started surfing the 10. Go in. Study it. What did it do? It started putting in structure. It took out the anticipation of the higher low rule using a new structure. Started a new structure higher. It broke and started making an MB, another MB, and set up an MB here. All of those produced an opportunity for an entry. All of those, no matter how you protected them, ended up making a move. All of them would have been at break even close to instantly, and all of them would have delivered. CMD, it's very important that you go and like look at some of the entries yourself. You know, I can do this all day because, you know, I've looked at 10,000 or 30,000 hours probably of this stuff over and over and over again. But what does it matter? Like you need to go and look inside of it. Where are the entries? What lines up with what you've seen in the portal? What lines up with good entries? What ends up moving? What are the precedents for the actual move that happened? Did it show strength? Where did it show strength? Well, at the time of the entries, if we look at them on the hourly, because you're entering an hourly, we started getting our initial impulses around the 13th of July at 8 p.m. What was happening on the 13th of July at 8 p.m. on stuff like Bitcoin? The 13th of July at 8 p.m., 13th of July at 8 p.m., you also saw and started to see strength out of this. So it seems like overall strength comes in and the markets respond accordingly. Right? Yeah, there's many trades. There's probably one in there too. I don't know, but yeah. Again, go study them. Yes, there's many entries. Many. But me drawing them on is really, I don't think it's going to teach you a lot. Like, it might, maybe it does, but go in. You have the blueprint. You know what creates a good move. Generally. You see the webinars every single week. Go into them and look at the entries. You're going to get so much better. And this goes for any crypto. All the cryptos are probably doing a version of this, of course. Right? If you catch any one of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 right here, because that probably had an entry as well. Yep. Yeah, looks really good. All the same thing. Protect the MAs or just under. Yeah, I mean, it's the exact same thing. All of these entries are giving you opportunities that, you know, are exceeding 10R, 6, 7, 5, 6, yeah. STX USDT 2 hour. Maybe. Maybe. Surfing a bit higher, kind of putting in the range above. Yeah. But this is for an entry time frame. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 hour. Probably like a daily you can look at. Yeah. It's a little bit weaker, right? I think. This thing's moving higher. And this thing is stalling. So this has a little bit of weakness. And it moves with the market, but it's not moving with the market now, which is really weird. So, you know, that even though the setup is decent and quite good, I'd probably skip relative weakness. All right, that's it. It's just weak. Yeah, it's a setup for sure, right? It's getting tight across the top. 2 hour is setting up a potential MB move. Yeah. But it's weak. Anton's voice could cure depression, bro. What? I can see myself as a therapist. If anyone needs any therapy, hit me up. I got you. Liam says, Ment, have you noticed that your strategy tends to not deliver as many clear, successful trades during August? What a terrible, terrible, terrible question. But let's see what else there is to it. I've gone through my backtesting results and have noticed I have very little clean price delivery for trades using my strategy through August in the past. Read that this is due to the bankers' holiday through the summer. Oh, it's holidays? Yeah, that makes sense. But then again, I probably wouldn't get any trades during that time, right? If money is not present, if money's not delivering, if there's relative weakness, there's no momentum, no trends, then I simply don't trade. I don't keep track of months. I don't really care about the months. I just look at the price. So I don't think about August as a bad time. I just think, okay, if it is a bank holiday, which it seems like you're saying it is, there's probably going to be less money in it, especially composite money. So it's likely going to be shittier, especially if the context is not there. Other times the context is going to be there and it's going to deliver beautifully. Now, again, I can go back and look at August of multiple markets during, you know, whatever. When's August? June, July, August. Okay, this was August in Tesla. Nope, you're wrong. This August, this June, July, August. Yeah, this presented a phenomenal entry. Through here and here, this is August. So I have disproven your entire analysis. Beautiful market, beautiful delivery after. There you are. Again, stop listening to people. Stop listening to banker holiday. I don't know what the fuck you're even getting that from. Look at the market. Study the market. Study the context. If the context is bad, yes, August will be bad. Where's another August? This was another August right here. July, August. Harder to trade. Move still came from it, but yeah, I would have ignored here. The context was quite poor. Not clear moves. It's a lot harder to trade this. It was kind of choppy. Not much to do, and then it erupted. But I wouldn't be able to trade this probably based on looking at this. Just a harder move to get, unless you're using like a larger time frame average, because you're a professional. Then maybe there's something in here, and that actually happened in August. This move right here. So no, I disagree. And again, do I disagree on the merit of news or fundamentals or anything like that? No, I disagree on the merit of the actual price action, which should be your main and only focus as a trader anyway. Matt says, I would see those patterns in the charts and call them continuation patterns. So now seeing it in the portal videos blew my mind. Good. John says, Anton, it feels like the course material is changing faster than I can keep up, getting a bit frustrated. Okay. Can I continue using ICIs? The new approach to structure and MB buy stops is confusing me. Well, John. That is your answer. Let's see what we got here. Man, do you ever get tired of repeating yourself over and over and over again? No, I don't mind it. It's all good. However, when I have a lot of the course done, you know, I want to make sure that people actually go through it because it's very important. But John, if you're profitable doing what you do, don't worry about it. Like, there's nothing else to do. And again, can you continue using ICIs? ICI. Okay, this is what you need to understand about that. Okay? Now, if there's a particular kind of MB buy stop that works best for you, and you don't like looking for a specific telltale sign of, you know, what I'm kind of going through, then that's perfectly fine. You can follow the entries that make sense to you, dude. That's it. Took out the low, looking for a new build-up. Yep. Emka says, the portal is now around 7 hours of content and it's been available for a few weeks. If you have been around for more than a few weeks and you still haven't watched it all, you have no excuse. Yep, that's very true. What's your entry candle valid? Are you talking about... I don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest. Expand on that if you can, and then we'll take a look. John says, what do you mean by tight across the top? Several small candles hugging the upper line. Yeah, it could be. That's one way that it could get tight, yeah. Sure. There's just a clear area by which it's under some kind of line, and then it lines up on a lower time frame for an entry out of it. That's it. I will do more examples every single week as I look through my own trades and whatnot, and I'll try to focus on it a lot more in the portal content. But yeah, this is an example, for instance, right here. This is the trade that I took while surfing the rising averages. In this case, yeah. Thoughts on Turbo USDT? 1 hour for context time frame. Is current price overextended or valid to look for entries? Well, what does your rule say? If you're using an hourly for your context, that puts you on a what? Like a 2-minute entry? 1 hour context is a 6-minute, 1 minute entry. Okay, let's go look. Sure. 1 hour context. 1 hour context. 1 hour context. It looks like Bitcoin from last year. 1 hour context. Started coming out of this. So there's probably trades in here and then a little bit higher maybe. So we'll take a look at the 6 minute. Yeah, I mean it's a little harder to trade in here. Starts to move higher. Starts surfing. Maybe puts in a tight range here. Start surfing, kind of putting in a tight range here too. Yeah. Maybe give it another candle or 2 candles. This entry, it was good, but it's harder to take. You know, you could just buy stop the MB, but it's a little bit harder to do that. But this is not really, actually, no, it is kind of meeting the rules here. And you have MB1, MB2. You probably need a little bit of time to form this MB2. It probably needs, like I said, like 2 more, 3 more 6-minute candles. Maybe it flushes out, builds something better, and then goes. Yeah, I mean, maybe. There's nothing yet. But again, stop trading the weekends. This is not trading. This is not a live trading webinar 101 right now. Like, follow your rules if you want to trade this thing right now, right? It's the same thing as every other crypto at the moment, for the most part. Well, actually, it's showing real relative strength right now. It's actually showing a lot of relative strength right now. That's really good. Might make a move because of that, to be honest. Yeah, I still think it needs a tiny bit of time. I think it needs time to build up a little bit more. Yeah, give it like 18 minutes, 12 minutes, and then it should maybe be good. No, it's not overextended. Follow your EVC. Can you take a look at Via Play? German stock? Yeah, it's ugly. Hey Anton, will the member portal contain criteria for trade management? Yes, sir. Yes, it will. And it will contain criteria for management across both the entry types that are available on any given move. So yes. Hey Anton, will oh yeah, we got that. Notes from portal course with pictures. All right, Shizen, I like it. I like to hear it. I've not taken a short since I found out Anton's space. I just don't feel as comfortable with them. Haven't tested them anywhere near as much as longs. Perfectly fine. Usually most markets are more equipped to be better on the long side when they're in a good market. Oh, we'll wait on that later. Can you usually see the 20 MA cross a 10 MA in those setups? I don't look for crosses. I don't think about crosses. John says, why did you switch your preference from the rule of 4 and rule of 30 to 6 and 60? Because it works better for me, and over time, it's what's shown me a better overall look at the market. All right. Thanks a lot. I will start to go on demo the 1st of August. Stop waiting. The 1st of August? Why are we waiting, man? Get to it. Tomorrow. Go like this. Okay? Go like this. Go to menfunding.com. Don't buy it. Click on this. Click on sign up right here. Get your account and start showing up every day. Start making it a process of your life to show up. If you want to be a trader long term, you're gonna have to start, right? Don't put it off. There's no reason to. Unless you're literally like in the military, at war, being deployed, and you need to have your mind on that, there's no reason you shouldn't be on this, man. Diplogang says, Anton, in the very beginning of the leg on Bitcoin, you had several trades shown while they were a bit under the MAs. You had several trades shown while they were under, at the very beginning of the leg on Bitcoin, while they were under the MA. Are you talking about here? Well, that's because if hourly is your context or your validation, yeah, if hourly is your validation, then you're using like a 10 hour for your context, and the context on the 10 hour becomes valid basically as price, even at the latest, starts coming out of this little area here, right out of this stage 1. Because now you've potentially started stage 2, and the hourly, as it moves into accumulation from that point, begins to put in action that can be traded on a lower time frame. That's correct. EVC. It's very important. I think I've spoken about it at least once every single webinar for the last 20, 30 webinars. How do you protect your entry low? With a stop loss. What do you mean by that? Bruce. My Bruce. Anthony says, how far in the stage 2 in a context time frame is too far for you? Before I read the rest of the question, what have you noticed in regards to validation time frame setups in reference to a stage 2 on a context time frame? That's the first question I would ask you. So like if you took a one-on-one with me, that would be my first question to you. What have you noticed on your validation time frame and what it does in regards to what you might call an extended or a delivering context time frame? That'd be number 1. So you say, I just use SMAs and look for them when it's too much extended, but one is for you the perfect moment to go into the entry time frame because I'm studying charts, found my own conclusion, but wanted to have your opinion. I don't go lower if the validation time frame is not doing what it should be doing, right? So if the context time frame is in stage 2, but the validation time frame is not setting up, there's no reason for me to check the entry. Because the truth about the market is that the entry time frame might always have an entry, but it doesn't mean it's worth trading, right? What do you think about TGT? Is that Target? It is Target. It is very bad. It is absolutely terrible. It needs to come out of whatever stage 1 it's in right now on the weekly, basically. Yeah. It needs to make its way over like 158, 160. TGT. 2 down days. What's QQQ doing? A lot of down days. So TGT is holding up, but when the entire market went higher, 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 this thing went lower, lower, lower. At the moment, this is relatively weak in stage 1. Trash, right? Book a one-on-one for trading therapy. Yeah, you could. You've evolved as a great teacher. I really like the portal training. Let's go. Good shit, man. I'm really glad to hear that. Javian says, I check the portal every day to hopefully see my 100% drop. Okay. Mr. Onionson's been, I will let you guys know when the portal has things added to it. We added like 1 thing to it or 2 things to it in the last like week, or 2 or 3, I think, or 1. I don't remember. But yeah, I will let you know when stuff is out. Trading is simple, but it got complicated due to trader doubts. I mean, that's literally all of trading, of course. Sport Mode said, you said you don't look for crosses, but do you look for the MAs to be in order to drop lower? Nope, I don't. You just have to be clean. Clean move. So like if someone's trading target, you know, the time where you should have been trading this thing is probably around here. Like if you traded it inside of here and took like a loss or a break even, that's fine. And then here was very nice. Maybe a little bit higher. Maybe you're just like a little bit worried. So something along there. And then it made a very nice move. It looks like it probably would have been break even anyway. But you know, you can go in and study it. But no, it doesn't have to be. It just has to be, yeah, I mean, structurally it's a little bit harder. But the MBs do start to form, and if you took a buy stop here, it does end up working based on how you manage it. Yeah, I mean, there you are. There's a move around here. And I guess here you can see the MAs ended up crossing, or one was below the other. But again, I'm not looking for crosses. I'm not looking for one below or above another. I'm looking for price to start to serve for sale across the rising 10, 20, or 50. Yeah. What about the 1 hour context on USD CAD and odd NZD? Possible entries on the 1 minute next week. Maybe. Maybe. Where is it at? Let's see. Okay. Okay. Good start. Context-wise, yeah, you're okay. It's a little bit wicky, a little bit choppy, but we'll remember that as we step down. Absolutely tragic and terrible. I would ignore it. Look at the context. Context-wise, we are looking actually really good. It's definitely in stage 2. It's somewhat delivering. So we'll take a look at the 6. And you had a maybe opportunity out of this, like somewhere here. And then maybe somewhere in here. And now it's just chopping higher. So I would ignore it. No, I don't see anything on these. They're just chopping. There's not momentum behind them. There was momentum here. If you had a move like this, and then you started watching for something inside of there might have been something really nice like that, for sure. Right? These are the kind of moves you'd want to look for. Right around here. This would be really, really nice. I don't know what it ends up doing on the 1 minute, but yeah, these end up being really nice. You probably even take a long here. This one probably loses, right? If you take that, I'm assuming. Does it? Oh, it doesn't even, this one doesn't even lose. Yeah, and then you move to break even. Go to your 6. Yeah, so this one ends up going. Yeah. 50%. And you let the rest run with the 10 or the 20. Could close some there, or close the full position, close the rest there, or get stopped out. Yeah. Again, like, I don't see anything like that right now over here. This looks very ugly. This looks like it's going to do this. Right? That, like, I'm not here to trade those kind of markets personally. Shelling says, I found that point, the tightness lines to a trigger candle, minus 20 and 50, helps me see the breakout clearer. Are you using the trigger candle? Yeah, I mean, you can do that too, for sure. And yeah, this is a great, like, yeah, exactly. It's kind of forming this thing across there. Sure. This looks like more like a 30-minute surfer, to be honest, just looking at it. But yeah, I mean, it's all going to be unique to the person on what helps you see it better, for sure. Yeah, like, I don't like this one personally, but maybe something across there make a lot of sense. But this reminds me of odd NZD right now, just looking at it. Odd NZD, where it's like, it's a little bit choppy. So I'd probably ignore this too. Amka says, I think we had one guy who was still in military, deployed, and still showed up to webinars. Yep. I remember my good man, I remember him. Compman says, how do you calculate context time frame? I got a 5-minute entry, 20-minute validation. That would have to, what would you calculate for context? Is it 10x the validation or the entry? 10x the validation. So it would be 5, 20, 200. So like 2 or 3 hours or 5 hours or even a daily. It's up to you. You can use all of those. They're all valid. Do you have a rough estimation of when you expect the entire course in the members portal to be finished and uploaded? No, I don't, because there's a lot of things that I want to cover, and I want to cover them well, which is why and hopefully you see that based on the stuff that I kind of put out so far. It's taken a lot of redoing, rethinking, re-simplifying, because, well, as you guys probably noticed, you know, it's simplifying every concept that I've personally ever used. So yeah. RBOB, gasoline futures, looks good for lower time frame, 5 minutes and lower. 5 minute and lower. So you're probably going, I don't know if you're entering on a 5 minute, but so it's definitely bearish. That's step one. And then you're saying you're entering on a 5 minute and lower, which means you're probably entering a 1 minute. So look at a 6 minute here. Yeah. Yeah. Looks pretty good. Are these EMAs or SMAs? SMAs, okay, good. Yeah. Started surfing, put in like this tightness. There probably was a trade inside of this thing. It's very liquid though, I would not have touched it. It looks very bad, illiquidity wise. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it is bearish. It looks pretty good on the bearish side, and the screener would have been reading generally bearish with some reaccumulation here, but this is clearly moving lower. So that's all good. Yeah, you have overall distribution present on this thing for the most part. But yeah, I mean, entries would have been in here, maybe in here, and then in here, but those are all very illiquid. So I'm not here to trade illiquid stuff too. So that's very important for me. What type of candle are you expecting before putting your buy limit / stop? Like a big burst, or I'm looking for basically not a big burst. Well, I want momentum in the market for taking an entry, but any entry, so like these ones here, I'm expecting something like this. MB validations, and then an MB buildup, right? MB validations, MB buildups. MB validations, MB buildups, right? I'm not expecting a singular or a perfect candle. I'm looking for consistency behind the entries that I've studied. It's like, it's a very hard thing to hear. I noticed this from like last week. People hate hearing, absolutely hate hearing, you know, that there is no perfect candle. But it's the equivalent, and I want you to really like kind of understand this. It's the equivalent of me coming to you and saying, always sell the market when it's over the 20 RSI overbought level, or over the 80 RSI level. You know that doesn't work. You know that's not how the market functions. You know there's a lot more to an entry than the indicator is showing this. And similarly, there is no, you know, perfect star candle, perfect candle formation that makes the move good. There's just consistency in price delivery. And you studying your entries and taking photos is going to do a lot more for you than me explaining a candle ever, right? And that's what's going to form, like again, we went over this like a second ago for the soul guy. That's going to form your understanding of what to look for in an entry that then ends up becoming a deliverer, right? Not a perfect candle. There's just not. I'm sorry, there's not a perfect candle. There's a lot of mentorships out there, I will tell you that like to teach you the perfect candle. And all those people have been and will stay stuck for their mostly entire lives. So the idea is you either build the personal conviction and you learn to find the perfect Anton setup, or the perfect, what's my boy's name? Willing Pennington, just a random name again, but I'm just using a name that I'm seeing. The perfect William setup, or Tom, the perfect Tom setup, or whoever asked the question, which was Bruce, the perfect Bruce setup. But there is no perfect candle. There's just setups that meet the EVC, right? And then meet the entry criteria. That's it. Anthony says, I found that on the EVC, my trades are better if I take a context time frame of the context time frame. Sure. Yeah, you can add more. That's the bubble approach. EVC, you are more than free to add elements to the context. So if it works out for you to have an entry, a validation, and then 2 contexts, like a daily and a weekly, a daily, a weekly, and a monthly, there's nothing wrong with that. This is how you formulate context. And for some people, they'll want to use more. Some people want to use less. Some people want to use all. iPhone says, totally agree. The new content is such a milestone in men's teaching. I appreciate you, man. Black says, to drop the cost, I'll watch the portal 5 times. William says, besides your amazing webinars, I also really like your recent public videos. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Trading odd NZD on the 4-hour. All right, so we just looked at odd NZD, but you want to trade it on the 4-hour, which means you're looking at, what's 4 times 6? 4, 8, 12, 24 hours? Oh, a day. Okay, well, that makes sense. A day, so like a week is, yeah, the week looks really good, you know? It's in a big range, but it's coming out of this like long-term stage 1. Clearly coming out of the stage 1. So we are in a stage 2 on the weekly. Daily is, yeah, so daily did what Bitcoin did, right? The setup on the daily kind of happened here, but it was below all that context, so it's harder to trade it. So I probably would have skipped that. And then here, I don't see tightness yet, right? So I would really need to see this probably go sideways for a few more days, maybe even another week, right? And you can prove that, right? Because you can prove it on a lower time frame, probably. Well, a little bit harder, but yeah, structurally, you are making the move that you want to see generally. You're starting to validate MBs, and theoretically, there's an MB right here, but in my opinion, the validation's not ready. This, to me, looks like it wants to come down, let the 20 catch up, start surfing the 20 or making some new higher lows across, and form some kind of tightness across the top here. Because right now, this just started taking off. I don't know. This looks like it wants to, again, either go up, flush out, and then wait, and then build a move, or just flush out, come up, build a move, and then go. But yeah, it's a good thing to keep your eye on. Like, you know, you could keep it on your list because it has momentum. It's come up with momentum. This is really nice. It can start surfing now, which would be very nice, and start forming some kind of range. I don't see anything yet, but maybe. And then this will align. And again, this might just take some time because, again, this could easily come down and then form MBs here. And the setup would look the exact same, right? It would still be a valid setup. It would still be meeting the anticipation rules. It would still be in its overall move delivery and still the perfect, quote unquote, structural move. But yeah, this would need a little bit of time in my eyes. From last week, odd NZD, you took this on the 6-minute, which means you were looking at a 30-minute for your validation, and you took it last week. 30-minute on the validation, took it last week. So you traded around here. Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, that looks great. Momentum, a little bit of chop. Set up a trade here. Momentum, set up beautiful range. Beautiful range. Went sideways for a while, and then you entered on a 6-minute through these MBs or these MBs. Let's see. You entered through this MB or these MBs right here, basically through this buy stop. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And now you're managed. Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful. Phenomenal. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. Looks really good. There might have even been an add-on spot right here. Now, you know, the more that form, the worse the entry can become. But this is phenomenal, right? You had the initial move, kind of a choppy fuck, so you ignore it all until it becomes a little clearer. This was a great move in here, but you didn't take that, which is fine. And then this setup, and you waited, and then you traded it through the, yeah, this is like, you're gonna, yeah, that's profitable. This is a profitable guy. This is a future profitable guy. I expect a funding certificate from him in less than a year. Certificate. At minimum. I mean, yeah, this is great, dude. This is great. You like keep up with that. Like you did. Yeah, it's so good. And you double MB, you saw that. Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Good. That 5-minute candle on Bitcoin right now. Well, is it up to no good again? It's a harder one. If you traded it inside of there or something, yeah, it's a harder one. I probably would have skipped it. You know, yeah, I don't. It's a harder one to see. I probably would have still waited. So this is something I would have missed. Oh, but then you get the quick ones, right? So this is where if you're a faster based trader, which is some of you, and it's going to become some of you, and actually I'm adding it to my repertoire, but we'll talk about that later. As this starts its move and true momentum comes in, these are some beautiful buy stop through candle or buy stop through MB entries. Now again, not some of these would have just been break evens, and some of them may end up being wins. Right, like this would also be a break even now based on what it does, but it should make another move to like 67.8, like up here, and that should be a partial. Because that's how markets move, right? So like these will be the mini short-term entries. These would all be break evens until this one, and now you would expect, hopefully, 1, 2, or 3 candles that reach up, probably something like this, and then you have the same thing where it either reaccumulates instantly and then goes, or just takes off, right? But yeah, this is really good if someone is trading this thing. All right. I've noticed, great job on the portal videos, so much easier to follow. I'm really glad to hear that, man. Lucas says, Anton, we appreciate you as well, man. Please don't feel under any pressure to get the remainder of the portal stuff out. Listen, I know it's gonna come out, and I'm not under like extreme pressure to put it out, but I want to get it out to everyone. I think it's very important. But I'm gonna make sure that it's only put out with the best, the best of the best, because I want to make sure that, you know, as someone works through it, they truly understand everything. So yeah. Hi Anton, daily THYAO may be an opportunity. So daily entry means you're looking at a weekly validation and a 10-week, which is what, 4, 8, about 2-month context. 3-month, 2-month context. Okay. Yeah, context is going. Probably entries were in these areas here, and maybe even here, but we'll see. Definitely bullish. Definitely an accumulation. Take a look at the validation time frame. Yeah, there's nothing here right now. Right, so the entries were on their way up, paused a long time, and paused again. Maybe an entry in here. Keeps going. I mean, listen, so like right now what I see is, you know, you're kind of in this stage 1 off probably the weekly or the daily. Yeah, stage 1 on the weekly and daily. Oh wait, we said the weekly is your validation time frame. I'm so sorry, I'm dumb. Not the daily, yeah. Down here was really nice. This is harder, but in here might have been an opportunity. Surfing nicely, yeah. I mean, it looks like you could set up something through here, right? Maybe 1 more week, or if it. Actually, this is the end of that week. Yeah, it could be this week. For the daily entry, let's take a look. So structurally, yeah, structurally, you're kind of meeting the rule. You have the anticipation of the higher low rule met here. This low has not been taken. That's okay, though. And from there, you validated an MB. And this MB. So yeah, right now what I see is hopefully next week starts, comes down to make that MB. And then there's a buy stop there. Or even better, 1 more week of this MB, and then you're gonna get a phenomenal trade here, or it'll start forming something like this. But yeah, this is a good watcher if you're entering on a daily. Makes a lot of sense. Now, okay, hold on. Now hold on a sec. Like 1, 2, 3. Maybe 4, definitely 5, 6. Okay, no, I would ignore. Yeah, okay, it sounds weird. This is why you do your analysis. I would ignore. This is 7 ICIs deep. 50 is basically heading straight up. What I would look for now, to be honest, as I look at this, is you might get a tiny move out of this. I don't think a setup out of this is going to lead to a move like this. I think it's going to lead to a move like this minimum, and then a correction back down. So honestly, looking at this, I would start to expect, because you're using the weekly as the validation, I would start to expect price to hopefully actually break down, start surfing this like 50 higher, kind of create something along these lines, and then there may be a trade through here a little bit later. So that actually changed my perspective, just looking at the actual delivery of ICIs or the validation time frame setups over and over again. This is, you know, you're about 7 or 8 deep right now of go and pause. So you have like the stage 1 into 2, 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 low term 1, you know, you can't trade it, but 1 into 2, 1 into 2, 1 into 2, 1. Yeah, I would look for a little bit more breakdown, maybe a little bit more accumulation to come in, slow down, and then continue. So again, this is where a little bit of work leads you to that. But then I would compare this, what is this, Turkey? You know, compare yourself to the Turkey market, compare it to some other stuff. Like, what is this doing? Pausing. Over the last few weeks, QQQ has been doing what? Going straight up. So if you're comparing just to the overall market, you know, this thing has been strong and been proven to be strong, has actually just slowed down. So while QQQ has just went for weeks and weeks on the strength curve, and this thing was relatively strong before, it's now lost a lot of that initial strength, and it's now becoming relatively weak. So right now, you're looking for it to hopefully slow down, and then hopefully during its slowdown, NASDAQ or the Turkey market or whatever starts to go down lower. And as this slows down and the markets go lower, this shows strength after that. Right? So to this point, it's relatively weak. And then hopefully over the next few weeks, or even months, it might show overall strength, and then you're going to get a setup out of this. So again, this is how I conduct my analysis, right? I'll look at something, it looks really good, I'll work through it, I'll work through a number of elements, and I come to the conclusion that it needs time. I think it's gonna build a surf for like, it's gonna come down probably to like 230, get bought back up and start surfing higher around 280, and then make like a nice move around here. But there's nothing here yet, in my opinion now. And it's weak. So there you go. That's what goes on in my mind when I look at something. Nathaniel says, will the next section on the members portal cover analyzing context or validation time frame? That's exactly what the purpose of the portal is, yeah. I found that pointing the tightness lines to a trigger candle helps me see a breakout. Gotcha. Oh yeah, I think I went over that. DHI has money coming in the last few days. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of relative strength for sure, right? So something like this, you can put on your list and watch it for a bit. Right now, there's nothing to do, right? This is where you wait for it to come down as the market gets weaker, to start surfing, build something, and then you can have your next move. Yeah, right now there's nothing though. This is just, nothing to touch. Was weak when the market was strong, became strong when the market is weak. So you can keep an eye on it, but there's nothing here. This is just ugly action, right? You can't predict this kind of thing. John says, something else I found confusing is the shift from models and model-based stage 1s and 2s to fractal 1s and 2s. Sometimes I see you and the team taking longs inside of model chop that I'd avoid. How would you suggest we merge these two understandings? I need more like examples. What do you mean by that specifically? And again, there's not one stage 1 and stage 2. There's not one time frame. There is a confluence of the EVC, okay? There's a confluence. There's multiple factors and time frames and indications working together. There is no, this thing's doing this, I'm good to trade. If you want to build a system like that, you can. It means a lot less trades, less opportunities, but maybe it helps you with your profitability, which is perfectly fine. But you need to break away from the understanding that there is a one candle setup, a perfect tightness, a perfect MA, build up or crossover, a perfect stage 1 or 2. There is a perfect structure, etc. There's not. Can you look at gold? I think gold's still bullish, right? Yeah. Hopefully it goes sideways for the next week or 2 weeks, sets up a range and then starts going higher, right? I missed the move inside of these areas here. It was very hard to trade it. And then I missed this move because again, it got pretty hard to trade it. I couldn't really get that. It started its move. A lot of you guys saw the lower time frames become perfect during this time. Endless perfect lower time frame setups there. Now we are back in either stage 1 of this higher, so lower is probably just waiting for some kind of move out of this or some kind of proof of bullishness. And I am waiting for this thing to hopefully surf higher and then start building a range later, but there's nothing right now. But yeah, gold is bullish. Gold looks really good. Expectation is still bullish, but this is one of those examples where, as per the webinars, you're bullish on a market, but it's nothing to do right now. This is like the same as Bitcoin when Bitcoin was here. Or like here. This is where gold is right now. Either gold is now gonna build a range and then start a move that goes, or it's just gonna fail down and there's nothing to do. Because markets like to be cyclical with money that comes into them. You're in it. In Link. I mean, yeah, I can almost see like that's probably surfing a higher time frame. MB. Yeah, I mean, it's probably a really nice trade in there. I don't know what it looks like on the 6 minute, but it looks like it's probably really clean. Look at it real quickly. Oh, yeah, it looks great. It looks absolutely great. You probably entered somewhere in there. Yeah, literally, perfection lineup. Starts validating MBs, you can enter through there or there. Yeah, I mean, this is a great trade. Absolutely phenomenal trade. Good job. Again, let's not do live trading during the Webbies, but good job, guys. Go post them in the Trade Talk. It doesn't live in the Webbies. Trade Talk. Post your crypto trades here, boys. All right. Congratulations for everyone catching all this stuff. It's great. Yeah, this looks phenomenal. All you lower time frame like traders, like this is perfection, right? Clear momentum, insane momentum, surfs higher, gets tight, produces like this high along the line. Lower time frame sets up beautifully for the same kind of structure move we see over and over and over again, and starts producing the MBs out of that move. And there you are. And then, as always, you had the lower time frame entries that set up a beautiful little fractal stage 2 that is profit / break even. And now we're in reaccumulation mode to hopefully hold on, and off we go to new highs, right? That's it. Over and over again. The exact same setup. The exact same setup from the portal. The exact same MBs. Yep. And for the guy earlier that said, you know, I like ICIs, I don't know what's going on. Okay, it's the same thing. There's just refinement. Good job, guys. Congratulations. These are great trades. Oh, you took a full partial. Easy. Good job. Go post in Trade Talk. Go post your trades on these cryptos in Trade Talk. They don't live in here. Great trades, though. Great trades. Look absolutely beautiful. And like, look at this, right? Strength into a little bit of strength. Huge strength. Right? I mean, just shows you the momentum. Shows you what's being accumulated in reference to the other. Yeah, it looks great. Congratulations. Take a look at JPY pairs. I know that they're bad because I remember looking at them last week, and I told you it would probably flush out over this week, which means that it's probably not even started building a range yet. Let's go test our theory. I think I drew this last week. Right here. Yep. Let me do this for you. The initial. Where is UJ at? TME. Where are the UJs of the world at? That's the question. Is it here? And then we'll be back in it as the... We've had a phenomenal run on this thing. It's basically repeated what we saw back here. That's the move. Now it's going through this period. Here's the move. Now it's going through this period. Okay. Expectation is to keep building something. We're clearly in a downtrend on this thing on some lower time frame. And there it is. That's your move lower off that daily. It is building absolutely nothing yet. This needs probably a week, 2 weeks. It's nothing yet. It's like, it's gonna take time. A lot of time. Downward sloping MAs. Yeah, I mean, right now it looks like it wants to do this. Okay? It's still in a bearish move right now. I would ignore. GU seems fine, he says. Yeah, if it starts building something. Nothing right now. Don't know what time frames you're looking at, but lower time frames, we spoke about it last week. There were great trades all the way through. Now if it keeps going, then sure. 2 indicators with SMA and MA separately. Cool. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Maybe lifetime membership will be available. Probably no, because everything that we run, the video softwares, the screener, the software we're building out, all cost monthly for data and usage. So all usage also is paid for by from our team, right? So it will likely be a premium tool the way it exists right now. There's so much value here. I appreciate you, man. Euro CAD looking good for this week. Don't know what time frames, but lower time frames probably yes. Higher time frames absolutely no. Nice. Not my kind of trade for sure. Even on the quicker front, I would want this to step a little bit lower and then set something up if I was taking the quick trade, but you got break even on it? Nice. John says, here's an example from the other week. Karar stayed out of model chop / ugly range on his context time frame, but you, Sapir, and a few others continued looking long. Well, I didn't touch Australian. I just said that it was fine because it was coming out of stage 2 and stage 1 and started at stage 2 and then starting at stage 1 here and potentially coming out of the stage 2 around this point. And again, that's where you would line that up with a validation time frame for validity. Same hoodie, same t-shirt. Anton was like, the market always the same. Yes. Nothing ever changes, guys. Nothing ever changes. Remember that. This validation is good enough for you regarding your rules and understanding. Validation. I would want the SMAs on here, but just looking at it, I believe it's going to be surfing the rising 20 and 50. Yeah, right here is a great trade, and right here looks like, yeah, there would also be a great trade. Yeah, this looks great. There's probably a great trade in there, yeah. 3 minute Bitcoin USD. Bitcoin USD on Coinbase. Now, where were we? Where was this? 15th. 15th? 15th. Where the 15th at? Somewhere in here? That can't be right, is it? I don't know. I don't know where it is. Older price. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, this looks great. And I mean, you can see it plays out. So like, of course, it actually, you know, when something's played out and looks like this, of course, it's quote unquote great, but go study the inside action. It looks like you probably got a trade right here off of the same thing. Like you can almost tell the structure out of this. John says, in that OS example, I'd argue that there are multiple longer-term stage 1s overlapping in several prior failed fractal stage 2s and wonky models. Wouldn't that be considered chop? Sure. If you were to draw a line across all the supply in the market before demand comes in, it would probably be along the lines of, do I have a line tool? Do I have a line tool of any sort? I do. Nice. If I was to draw a line through all the supply in this market, it would probably be along the lines of this. Okay. So on that candle, that is an exit of longer term stage 1 and an exit of lower term stage 1. So at that point, validation timeframes become clearly valid for trades. Okay. John says, so maybe after the break, I'd consider stepping down because 1s and 2s and building and we're potentially exiting model chop. Sure. This is the lower time frame entries. Let me see the second one. Yeah, I mean, this is great. You have your overall structure. You have your rule and the rule here, the anticipation of the higher low where it takes out this one and comes close to this one. Builds MBs, MB1, MB2, or MB1, MB2, MB3, MB4. You entered through that, phenomenal. Break even probably on this candle or on this candle based on how you're doing it. Off you go. This is a phenomenal trade if you tested it. Now, if you took your full profit here, I don't like it. I think if you're doing that, your trade should be like higher up. You should wait for it to come out and then you can trade here, take a break even, take profit, right? Trade here, take a break even, take profit higher. But if you traded this, managed it, and took it higher with the actual move, beautiful. Okay, you said no trailing, just didn't extend. Okay, perfect. Yeah, this is a phenomenal trade. A lot of phenomenal examples today. Like, and you guys should be able to see firsthand that all these examples are the same exact thing. Double MB, yep. Gotcha. Good. Very good. Meme of the week. Let's see who's behind my losses. It's you. It is you all along. Yeah, Zoom user is doing great. Yeah, dude, this is it's really good. It's really good. I love it. I absolutely love it. Wow, this is probably great on the 15 or 10, right? Is this the 10-minute entry we're talking about? Yeah, this was the harder. Oh yeah, this was the harder one to trade. Okay, got it, got it. Just looking through it. All right, it looks like everyone's chilling. Is that OS 200 one? Yeah, I mean, go study it. Go look at OS 200 and study the actual action on it. OS 200. What are we trading on? I forget. 5 hour. 5 hour. So what? That's like 15-minute entries, 10-minute entries. Yeah, you start putting in this huge range or huge context time frame. Comes out of it or is coming out of it. You start watching it through all this as it comes out. Even if that's the latest, probably start going at a 30 hourly, right? Hourly. Yeah, comes out of that stage 1, starts to stage 2, and there's your moves. Moves, potential moves, moves, a little bit ugly, and we're done. Yeah, these were phenomenal. And there's no reason that you couldn't be behind these based on where it was on any of these contexts. This is clearly out of this nonsense by a landslide. Came out of it a long time ago. No matter how you want to cut it. Even if you look at a higher time from context, no matter how you want to cut it, these points that I kind of highlighted as points that produce phenomenal results came out of that. Not in it, not inside of it, out of it. Looks phenomenal. Looks really good. So yeah, anyone that traded that is doing great. DX trade is coming in TradingView. I don't know. I don't have any idea about that. Well, then I'm gonna go eat. It was an amazing as a first webinar. Keep it up. Thank you, Bede. Happy to have you here, man. You're an absolute G. All of you that are here today actually are amazing. Thank you all for being here. I'm gonna wrap it up. We're about, Jesus, 2.5 hours. How? What broker do you trade on the stock side? I use Thinkorswim, which is Charles Schwab with everything I trade. They offer everything. So for my personal broker, that's what I use. Okay. Hey, one last question. What is the secret behind your self-motivation for doing a lot of stuff for us? I love teaching. I love interacting and working with people. I love seeing. Actually, I've went over it a few times, but you know, I'll go. That's kind of the average answer. That's the general answer. I love making sense of things to people. It's a different kind of experience. So there you go. That's basically it. And then it can extend further, and we can talk about all the other aspects of that. But that's the simplicity. All right, guys. Listen. Thank you all so much. It's always a pleasure seeing everybody here.